Welcome back to the space between the picket lines. First, I am truly sorry for my extended absence. Long story short, I ended up in the ICU for a while, and then I took a week to recover once I was released from the hospital. But I'm back now, and we are diving right into the deep end. Today's discussion is hard. I will say that up front. But it is also vital because what I've found is that a lot of women truly have no idea what they're getting themselves into whenever they decide to get an abortion. So I'm going to detail for you what actually happens in all of the main abortions to both the mother and also the child. As always, we are strictly looking at facts. I'm going to explain to you exactly what happens in the most common abortion procedures, which range across all 3 trimesters of pregnancy. From there, we are going to get into the long-term effects on a woman's health, because there are so many of them. And for the purposes of this video, we will use Planned Parenthood as our example because, as most of us know, it is the abortion behemoth of America. Additionally, to help better reinfuse the baby's humanity, we'll be bringing Anne from the Stages of Fetal Growth video back into the equation. So, starting with the procedures themselves, straight from Planned Parenthood's website, quote, "There are 2 kinds of abortion in the United States: in-clinic abortion and the abortion pill." First, we're going to focus on the abortion pill. It's sometimes known as a chemical abortion, which, to be honest, even surprised me because I thought that was something totally different. So it's a combination of 2 medications. First, you have mifepristone oral, which is also known as RU486. And then you have misoprostol, totally different drug. Now, abortionists will most likely recommend the abortion pill until up to the 11-week point, which is also taken directly from the Planned Parenthood website. So, important to note on the baby side, by 11 weeks, Anne has distinct human features, such as fingers and toes. So, if Anne's mom decides to abort her, she'd need to start with mifepristone. Now, mifepristone actually blocks the body's production of something called progesterone. It's a hormone that is imperative to Anne's early growth in the womb, which I covered in a previous video. Now, after Anne has been starved of nutrients for 48 hours, her mom would then take the second medicine called misoprostol. This second medicine induces heavy cramping and bleeding. And the reason why is that Anne's embryo, her embryonic sac, and the lining of her mom's uterus are all being expelled. Now, during all of this, and then afterwards, Anne's mom's body is going to be greatly affected. We know, compliments of whiterosewomencenter.org, what some of the most common side effects are. They include fairly extreme versions of the following: bleeding, uterine and stomach cramps, back pain, and, in some cases, a fairly severe allergic reaction. That is the black and white reality of a first trimester abortion pill abortion. Now, the baby you're going to see above died in this way. Her mother, whose name is Christina, gave permission to live action for the use of the photo you are seeing currently. In the box below, you can also find the link to her story, as well as links to other stories and further information on the matter. So if you want to go and do more research into it on your own, or if you're more curious about getting really into the weeds on this one, all of that is provided down below. Now, on to the second trimester abortions. Those usually occur between weeks 13 and 24. Now, on the baby's side, on Anne's side, by week 13, she has fully formed organs. And by week 24, she can do everything from kicking to regulating her own sense of balance, which is incredible because sometimes even I can't regulate my sense of balance. Now, at this point, Anne's mother would need to schedule an in-clinic abortion. At this point, she can no longer just take a pill. We know, compliments of the aid2womencenter.org, that something called a D&E, which is short for dilation and evacuation, would need to be scheduled. Now, this is another two-step process. But, plot twist, this time there are two versions of it depending on what stage of growth and development Anne is at. Now, in both types of D&Es, dilation is the first step. It happens when the cervix, which is the opening to the female uterus, well, the uterus because only females have them, is expanded. From there, within 24 to 48 hours, one of two things is going to occur. If the abortion is occurring before the 17-week mark, the abortionist enters the cervix with a suction tube and uses something called the aspiration technique to suck Anne out of the uterus. Now, the abortionist then goes back in with forceps and a curette and scrapes any remnants of Anne from her mom's uterine wall. However, if Anne is 17 to 24 weeks along, the abortionist is going to enter the cervix with something called a tubed clamp, which is exactly what it sounds like, and he or she will proceed to dismember Anne's body limb by limb, and then crush her skull so that it can be removed from her mother's womb. Now, this procedure comes with, of course, more innate risks to Anne's mother because it's a more evasive procedure. The cervix could be cut or torn or damaged, which actually hinders future pregnancies and also can cause bleeding out. If the mom has to have general anesthesia, it's sometimes needed, and it can cause convulsions and or heart attacks. It's also possible for Anne's mom to experience scarring of the uterus, which can result in future miscarriages. And finally, her mom's uterus and her nearby organs can be punctured because all of that stuff is woven in together. Now that is the black and white reality of a second trimester abortion. And attached below, you can of course find some more facts-only reference videos because we only deal in the facts here on this channel. And now, on to a third trimester abortion. This is from the same source, by the way, and like I said, all of this is linked down below so you can go check it out on your own if you would like to. Now, by this stage, Anne is a fully formed human. She's simply gaining weight to prepare to be born. Now, should her mother choose to have an abortion at this time, it would be known as an induction abortion, which is named as such because it induces labor. Now, this type of abortion generally takes about 10 to 24 hours. First, Anne would have digoxin or potassium chloride injected into her amniotic fluid, her umbilical cord, or her heart to kill her. Now, the reason for this is because if Anne's heart is beating when she's delivered, by law, the abortionist must save Anne's life. And we don't want that if we're doing an abortion. Now, once Anne's heart has stopped, her mother's cervix would be softened, labor would be induced, and a now dead Anne would be delivered. Now, this one, of course, comes with its own set of risks to Anne's mother. There is possible rupturing of the uterus, there is possible hemorrhaging, and also the possibility of needing a blood transfusion, as well as having a retained placenta. That is the black and white reality of a third trimester abortion. Now, before we get into all of the things the mother may experience after the abortion, really quickly, I would like to touch on a lesser acknowledged abortion method. In fact, some people think it's a myth. It's called the partial birth abortion. This is a real abortion method, and thanks to the Guttmacher Institute, the 2021 laws about the topic are available. Not only did I link it down below in the information box so that you can check it out for yourself, but I found out there are currently 19 states where this is a legal procedure. I thought it was only one state, and I was pretty sure it was New York, but unfortunately not. 19 United States allow the following. A partial birth abortion would occur while Anne's being delivered. Thanks to the NRLC.org, we know that all of Anne's body, minus her head, would exit the birth canal. With her head still inside, the abortionist would puncture the base of her skull and then insert a powerful suction catheter to remove Anne's brain. Now, this would cause Anne's skull to collapse, and then her head would be removed from the birth canal. That's the reality of a partial birth abortion, and it is legal in 19 states as of 2021. Now that we have a clear understanding of what each type of abortion entails, we can get into the discussion of the long-term effects on the mother afterwards. First, we're going to talk physical, then emotional, and then psychological. Physically speaking, there are a whole lot of things that can happen. Secondary infertility. This means going forward. Future ectopic pregnancies. Spontaneous stillbirth. Risk of breast cancer. And premature death. Those are the big ones to know about. And we know all of this compliments of ncbi.org. But just as serious are the psychological scars that many women experience. Thanks to physiciansforlife.org, we know that women who have had abortions are 160% more likely than those who choose life for their children to be hospitalized for psychiatric treatment in the first 90 days following an abortion. Also, researchers found that 44% complain of nervous disorders, 36% have experienced sleep disturbances, 31% have regrets about their decision, and 11% have been prescribed psychotropic medicine by their family doctor. Additionally, 19% suffer from PTSD, which is short for post-traumatic stress disorder. Now, there is so much more that goes into the mix on all sides of the aisle, but those are the big ones to know about. Now, as previously stated, there are a plethora of side effects and repercussions which are going to follow a post-abortive woman long after she's made the decision to end her child's life. And I have attached a whole bunch of reference material below, all from reputable sources, if you would like to delve even further into this matter on your own. And now that you're armed with this knowledge, let me give you some hope. If you are a post-abortive woman or a post-abortive female of any age, I can connect you to the resources that you might need. It is completely free of judgment. It's just there to help you get from where you are to where you need to be, because you are loved. And if you know someone who is in such a predicament, please send them my way. Send them to this channel, send them to me specifically, whatever may be the case. Finally, if you're like me and you just want to help, reach out to me, because I have people and resources and all kinds of stuff that I can connect you to. Now that we gotten the heavy stuff out of the way, switching gears, here is this week's book recommendation. It is called Post-Abortion Trauma. You'll see an example of it above. It's called Post-Abortion Trauma, 9 Steps to Recovery. It is by Jeanette Vaught, and it goes into incredible depth on helping to heal women, because that's such an important step. Now, as far as I can tell, unfortunately, this one only comes in paperback, so you can't listen to it auditorily. But you can find it on both Thrift Books and, of course, Amazon. Above all, what I want you to remember, no matter who you are watching this video, is that God loves and cherishes you so much. No matter where you are currently in life, no matter what you've done, none of that matters. All that matters is that you were created and He loves you. Stand strong in that knowledge. Now, as for next week, we will be looking at the real and true origins of abortion as like a thing. And we're also going to look at what you need to know about that. Until then, keep on keeping on. And let's continue to be pioneers in the space between the picket lines together.